Hello students, I am Jai Patel. I am going to teach you 9th standard physics. Students, already we have completed our lesson number 8 motion. Now today I will be start with the new chapter, that is lesson number 9, that is our force and laws of motion. Students, this chapter can be divided into two parts. First, we will discuss about force, and then second part is laws of motion. It means that Newton has given three laws for motion, so that we will discuss in next video. So in this video I am going to teach you the just introduction about force and types of force, and at the end I will give you some homework which you will write in your physics notebook. Students, in your 8th standard you have already learned about force and pressure, lesson number 11. So that is same thing which we are going to learn it here. I would like to say that just we will revise the same chapter based on force. So let's start about force. Students, you already have learned, so what is the definitions of force? So we can say that a push or pull of an object is called force. It means that when we'll apply the force on an object, means how we will apply the force, either in the two ways, we have to push that particular object or pulling that object. So that is called the force. Students, you can see here in that particular picture, one person is applying force on the particular ball, so it is also called the force. It is applying the push, and in second picture one student can pulling the rope, so that is also called the force. So what is the basic definition of force? A push or pull of an object is called the force. This is the definition only. Let's understand certain other things based on force. Students, you will know that force is due to an interaction. When two objects come into contact with each other, then force is act on an object. It means that an interaction of one object with other object result in a force between two objects. So when they will come into contact with each other, then the force is applied on that particular object. Students, it is the force that enables us to do any work. So due to the force we are able to do various activity. If force is not acting on an object, then we are not doing so many activities. Like example, we are not pushing any object from one place to another place if force is not acting on it. So students, already you have learned that in 8th standard that force has magnitude as well as direction. So magnitude means value, so force has its value and direction also. So we can measure it in Newton. 5 Newton force is act on an object, 10 Newton is act on an object, like that way, and in which direction it is acting. Students, we have learned that force can be applied in all direction, and we have learned so many activities in 8th standard also. Force can be applied in one direction also, in two direction also, and so many directions also. So to do anything, either we have to push or pull the object, therefore push or pull is called the force. So this is the basic definition of the force. Let's take examples of force. To open a door, either we have to push or pull it. So this is the simple example. If we want to open the door, we have to push the door or we have to pull the door, then we are able to open that particular door. A drawer is pulled to open and pushed to close. Suppose a table has drawer, we have to keep something inside the drawer, then we are applying the push force, so it is open, we keep that inside it, and when we are applying the force on it, it should be closed. So this push or pull of an object is called the force. Now students, let's learn various effects of force. Already in 8th standard you have learned. Here just sort of revision of is there. Effects of force. There are various effects. First effect, a force can be make a stationary object in motion. What does mean? It means that object is not moving, and when we are applying the force on an object, the object will move. So here I have given one example. For example, a football can be set to move by kicking it. Is that by applying the force? It means that when we are applying the force on a football, it should be move. Earlier it was at a raised position. Now after applying the force, it should be moving. Now students, second effects of the force. Force can stop a moving object. It means that if object is moving and we are applying the force, the object is come to the rest and it is not moving. For example, by applying the brakes, a running cycle or running vehicle can be stopped. So student, if you are riding the bicycle and if you want to stop it, you are apply the brake on it. So when you are applying the brake, it should be come to the rest position, or we can say that it stop and it is not moving also. So a force can stop a moving object. Now the third effect of force can change the direction of the moving object. It means that when object is moving, or it may be the rest, when we are applying the force, its direction should be changed. Suppose it's coming from north direction, and when we are applying the force, and it should be maybe it go any direction, but let's take the example, it should be move in the east direction. So in short, force can, when we are applying the force on an object, the object direction can be changed. For example, by applying the force, by moving handle, the direction of running bicycle can be changed. It means that if the turn will be there, when we change the handle direction, the bicycle direction can be changed. Similarly, by moving a steering, the direction of the running vehicle is changed. It means when we are riding the car, at that time when we have to take the turn, left turn or maybe the right turn, the direction of the car can be changed. It means we have applied the force on the steering. Now in short, force can change the direction of the moving object. Now fourth number point, force can change the speed of moving object. Here students, it means that we can increase or decrease the speed of an object by applying the force. It means that we can increase also the speed of the moving object, and we can stop or decrease the speed of the moving object. So let's take the example. By accelerating, the speed of running vehicle can be increased. So if we can accelerate more, suppose in the car or bike, when we are giving the accelerating, so the speed of the car or bike can be increased. Or by applying the brakes, the speed of the running vehicle can be decreased. It means that when we have to take when we have not accelerating or reduce the accelerating, at that time speed of the vehicle can be decreased. So this is the 4th point. Force can change the speed of the moving object. So, and last effect of the force is 5th number point. Force can change the shape and size of the object. It means that, for example, by hammering, block of metal can be turned into the thin sheet. By hammering, a stone can be broken into pieces. It means that its shape and size should be totally changed. Earlier it should be bigger side. After hammering, the particular metal ball can be converted into any other shape. So its shape is also changed and its size is also changed. It means that when we are applying the force can change the shape and size of the object. So students, these are the various examples of effects of force. I would like to take one common example and try to teach you that how these various effects in one common example. Let's take football example. A force can make the stationary object in motion. It means that football is at rest. When you apply the force, football can move. So it come into motion. Second point, force can stop a moving object. It means that football is coming towards the player, and when player is applied the force on the football, football is come to the rest. Third point, force can change the direction of moving object. Suppose, let's take the similar example. When football is coming from any one direction, north direction, and it going towards the south direction, but in between, when player is kicking it, it means that when applying the force, so its direction should be changed. It may be going in the east direction or any other direction. Then fourth number point, force can change the speed of the moving object. Similarly, when football is coming towards it, it should be when it accelerating in the same direction when the football is moving, it's and applying the force, its speed should be increased. Or if he is applying the accelerating, means trying to stop that football, and when it kick on the football, at that time the speed of the football is reducing. So that way the force can change the speed of moving object. Now force can change the shape and size of the object. So it means that when students, after the one game, two game, when you change that, when you see that the shape of the football and size of the football little bit reducing, because so many times we have applied the force on the football. So this way we can understand the various effects of the force. Okay students, then the next topic is types of force. Students, in 8th standard you have learned about the two types of force, I think so. So first one is contact force and second one is the non-contact force. I am just discussing about in 8th standard. So in your 8th standard you have learned about contact force. What is contact force? When two object when come through physical touching or physical contact with each other, so that is called contact force. Which are the examples are there? The first one is muscular force and second one is the frictional force. So these were the contact force you have learned. And second, non-contact force. What is non-contact force? When two objects attract or repel with each other when there should not be physical contact in between them. So this is called the non-contact force. So students, these you have learned in 8th standard. Here we are going to learn about same topic, types of force, but two forces. One is balanced force and unbalanced force. So let's first discuss about balanced force. So what is a balanced force and unbalanced force? So if the resultant of all the forces acting on an object or body is zero, the forces are called balanced force. Students, here we can take one example, means single force or all the forces, resultant forces. It means that two force, three force acting on an object. We can say that different forces acting on an object, its resultant force should be zero. So that is called balanced force. So here students, you can see it here in tug of war, that particular game. So when people are pushing that particular rope towards it, at that time, if that center point, it does not move, so that type of force is called balance force. So that is called balance force. Or we can take one example. If one big table is there and one student is applying the force on the table and table does not move, so it means that that is a balance force. Or two students come and they are applying the force on that particular table in opposite direction or maybe in similar direction, but table does not move, so that is also called balance force. Now let's learn certain thing about balance force. So if the resultant of applied force is equal to zero, it is called the balance force. Already we have learned that particular definition. Example, Similar example I have given, if the tug of war, if the both the teams apply the similar magnitude of force in opposite direction, rope does not move in either side. This happens because of balance force in which resultant of the applied force becomes zero. It means that total force is become zero. So the center point is does not move from the rope side. It is remain at the same point. So that type of force is the balance force. In tug of war, this situation is comes just for a single time or a less period of time. Now balance forces do not causes any change of state of any object. Balance forces are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So this is all about balance force. Then students, second type of force is unbalanced force. What is meant by unbalanced force? If the resultant of all the forces acting on a body is not zero, the forces are called unbalanced force. So these type of forces are called unbalanced force. So students, I will give the example. You can see it in picture. When one person is pushing that particular block, the block move. So that is called the unbalanced force. And when a particular player applying the force on the particular, let's take the example football, and football move, so that is called unbalanced force. It means that it is changing its position, so that is unbalanced force. Its total forces acting on an object is not zero, so that is called unbalanced force. Let's learn certain thing about unbalanced force. If the resultant of applied forces are greater than zero, not zero means it is greater than zero, we can say the similar thing. The forces are called unbalanced force or unbalanced forces. Let's take example of it. An object is raised, can be moved because of applying the balance force. When we are applying that particular force, so it should be move. Unbalanced forces can do the following: move a stationary object, increase the speed of moving object, decrease the speed of the moving object, or stop a moving object, change the shape and size of the object. So that is unbalanced force can be do. Now this is the example I have given, that is unbalanced force example. Now students, we have learned just introduction about force. We have learned the definition of force. We have learned various effects of force, and we have learned two types of force. That is just little bit different from your 8th standard. You have learned in your 8th standard contact force and non-contact force. Here you have learned balance force, all balance forces and unbalanced forces. So this is the short video of regarding the force. Now I am giving you certain questions which you have to write in your notebook, homework notebook. First one is define force. Second one, write any 3 effects of force with one example of each. Third one is name any 2 types of force. Fourth is define the balance force. And fifth one is define unbalanced force. So you can write this question and answer in your physics notebook. And in second video, I will start with the laws of motion. Thank you, students.